Hezbollah names Naim Qassem as new leader. Israel says that he will not last long. Some big words, and some even called them a bit childish, essentially saying like, oh yeah, we'll see about that. We'll take him out just as fast. Of course, Israel has had quite a track record lately of taking out some of the leaders. In fact, they have taken out several high-ranking officials in Israel many times over and over and over again. Lebanese armed group Hezbollah named Naim Qassem as its new leader on Tuesday, but Israel said his tenure would be temporary, an apparent threat after it took out the predecessor Hassan Nasrallah in Beirut over a month ago. Says, quote, temporary appointment, not for long, Israel's defense minister Yoav Gallant posted on X with the photo of Qassem, which is kind of crazy. I mean, you're talking about actually taking someone's life. This is what governments can do, by the way, which is just insane. If we look at just in general, us as humans and what we accept as, obviously this is a war, but it's just crazy. In war, you can just post like, yeah, we're going to take this guy out. Earlier, Iran-backed Hezbollah said in a written statement that its Shura Council had elected Qassem, 71, in accordance with its established mechanism for choosing a secretary general. Qassem was appointed by Hezbollah's deputy chief in 1991 by the arms group's then Secretary General Abbas al-Musawi, who was taken out by an Israeli helicopter attack the following year. Qassem remained in his role when Nasrallah became leader and had long been one of Hezbollah's leading spokesmen, conducting interviews with foreign media, including while cross-border hostilities with Israel raged over the last year. Nasrallah, of course, was taken out September 27th, and then an Israeli air attack on Beirut's southern suburbs, known as Dahaya, and of course, that took out also Hashim Safadin, considered the most likely successor, was also taken out in the strikes a week later. So you have, of course, the gentleman who was in charge, the gentleman who was going to take his place, and now, of course, you have someone who has been around the entire time that knows the ropes. They're saying they're going to take him out. So add to the list of martyrs, and I don't think that they're going to forget about this. Now, some of us go, well, why can't they just have peace? Or hopefully they'll just come to a peace agreement. In Iran, all of the people that have been taking out, Nasrallah, of course, Soleimani, all of these other characters that were taken out, they're all on 80-foot, 100-foot murals all over the city. They have painted their faces. They are now martyrs. So the people of that country, they are going to get revenge. They have stated it numerous times. And, of course, a couple of those names, the U.S. is directly responsible for. So this isn't a good thing for the U.S. either, especially when Iran is doing deals with, of course, Russia, North Korea, China, and all of them are getting prepared for a massive war. Of course, I will show you more evidence of that in tonight's show in just a moment. So again, stick around. We'll be right back right after this. Nothing in the show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough. All right, we have a packed show for you tonight. Again, a few people commented on that last show. Sorry, we had some thumping going on. I don't know if it was the bass and how it was set up, but yeah, I'm sure you guys heard the wee ones just running all over the place. So thank you guys for your patience. I know some of you made some comments about that. Most of you knew exactly what was going on. So thank you. Let's, of course, get back into the news. I'm going to bring in my co-host / internet brother, Dex James. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing just fine.
So let's talk about the Kremlin. Says that German arms factories in Ukraine are legitimate targets.
Yeah, the company is called Rheinmetall, and they're a defense manufacturer, as well as they manufacture other things, vehicles, and etc. They're a German company, and they have actually factories now in Ukraine. So it's not like they're targeting them outside of Ukraine. They've actually moved in. At least they have one vehicle maintenance plant that's in Ukraine, and they said they had asked Dmitry Peskov if the company's vehicle maintenance plant in Ukraine was a legitimate target, and he said it certainly is. And it goes on because the fact that it's one of the largest defense companies in Germany, and it has plans to actually have 4 facilities inside Ukraine and establishing ammunition, gunpowder, air defense production lines all inside Ukraine, in addition to that vehicle plant. So it's now putting this Western or German company specifically in the crosshairs, so to speak, of Russian attacks into Ukraine. So I guess what we'll pay attention to is whether or not that the current vehicle plant gets struck, and if it does, how that would expand. It also calls into question, who else is inside Ukraine. Like U.S. Defense Forum Northrop Grumman also finalized an agreement to build ammunition inside of Ukraine. But it says no foreign personnel will enter the country. So I guess they're providing all of the, process and equipment and construction, but not the people to do that. So
yeah, right.
We'll see. But it sounds like this is the new thing, let's move it into Ukraine, and then it turns into targets.
Yeah, and the fact that Northrop Grumman is going to trust some complete strangers, because they're saying no foreigners are going to do this. What are they going to hire people from Ukraine and be like, yeah, we're actually going to turn over all of our top secret patents and everything. We're going to have all of you guys make our stuff over there. That doesn't make sense. Okay. They're saying that there won't be foreign personnel that will enter the country. Do they think people are stupid? It's Northrop Grumman, and that they're going to build a plant to make ammunition there, but somehow not have any of their own people there. I mean, it's just like they blow a lot of smoke, right? So just watch, the Northrop Grumman plant gets blown up. I mean, think about this. Ukraine really has NATO set up inside. This is all NATO. NATO is moving closer to Russia. Really, it's setting up where NATO is right on their doorstep, and Ukraine is just this resource that they're fighting over. They don't care about the people of Ukraine. Think about 5, 6, 7 years ago when CNN was doing specials on how bad Ukraine was, and now everybody has turned and said, "Oh, they're so good. Let's put them on our, Facebook profile pic." Yeah, okay. I mean, just think about it. They don't care about these people. They care about the money and the resources that Ukraine has, or the secrets, or whatever the hell they're hiding there. Just my opinion, though. What is yours? Let me know in the comments down below. And then Russia carries out test for massive nuclear strike on the West. So, obviously we just talked about this a couple days ago, how New York did this PSA, a nuclear PSA, one of the stupidest ones I've ever seen, which they told the people of New York on a commercial, essentially to go home, close your doors, go to the middle of your house, turn on your radio, and wait. Yep, go home and wait. That's their message, okay? Huge, massive disaster. There could be a nuke on its way. Go home and wait. Stupidest advice ever. But again, they're basically saying, oh, well, we'll give you more instructions later. Well, think about that. People are just going to go home, and what if no instructions come? They've done all sorts of weird PSAs here. They've done all sorts of weird tests that we have not done in decades. Now, Russia has test-fired nuclear missiles from land, sea, and air as it simulated a massive response to an attack from the West. Vladimir Putin also warned that Russia would respond to any attack with overwhelming nuclear firepower, as this was its ultimate security. Taking into account its growing geopolitical tensions and emerging new threats and risks, it's important for us to have modern strategic forces that are always ready for combat. News agencies linked to the Kremlin said that the Russian military test-fired a Yars nuclear-capable intercontinental ballistic missile from the Plitsetsk launch pad at the Kura testing range in the Kamchatka Peninsula. The Yars missile was developed in secret in 2007. It is a thermonuclear missile that can be armed with 4 warheads that are all individually programmed to strike different targets. So this thing is like a Scud. I mean, it goes up and then it splits into 4 different missiles, and then all 4 of those missiles hit different locations. Much like their Sarmat, the Sarmat can actually hit up to like 13 or 15 targets or something like that. It can take out the area the size of like 4 states or something. It's insane. 4 small states, I guess. And then Russia's Ministry of Defense also said that 2 nuclear-powered submarines in the Barents Sea, in the Arctic, and the Sea of Okhotsk in the Pacific Ocean had fired ballistic missiles that can be armed with nuclear warheads. Tu-95 strategic bombers also launched practice long-range cruise missiles. On a live video feed, Andrei Bulasov, Russia's Minister of Defense, told Putin that the exercise simulated Russia's strategic offensive forces launching a massive nuclear strike in response to a nuclear strike by the enemy. So what they are practicing for, what they are putting out there, is that they're putting it out there, essentially, that they think that there may be a first strike on them. Now, I know that a lot of our brains say, oh, no, well, that would never happen. But again, I don't think anybody can say we can really trust anything that is going on right now. Everything could truly look like it is completely upside down when we're done with it. I really don't believe much of anything anymore from any of these governments because, honestly, they've all been completely lying. Especially since 2019, it's like, how do you have all of the same governments that are now at battle, all chummy, elbow to elbow, doing all of the exact same things under the guise for our safety, right? It makes you wonder about these wars in general. But do I think that the wars are fake or that it's just a distraction? No. I think these are real wars, and they might even check off some extra boxes like, I don't know, if they want less of us around, it's a good way to get rid of millions of us. And they don't even have to, they of course, don't have to do it themselves, right? Somebody else is going to do it for them. Dex, as far as this test goes, it looks like they had their triad, basically. They did it from land, sea, and air, and they're practicing doing this. Obviously, these are fake missiles, but I'm sure that they must have told people beforehand because, gosh, could you imagine watching all of these things go on at once? And if you didn't know it was a drill, remember the guy in Hawaii that was watching all of it? He ended up saying, he goes, yeah, it actually was because I thought it was real. And, this and this and that. It's like, imagine seeing this and not getting the memo that this is a drill.
Well, imagine if they can get the drill to be larger and they can announce it as a drill and tell everybody, don't worry, there's nothing on the different rocket propulsion systems, that there's no warheads on them, and there really are. And then all of a sudden we have a delay because we think it's a drill and it's not. That's the type of thing that China's been doing to Taiwan for the last couple of years. And while certainly a couple of launches here and a couple of launches there does not win a nuclear, a global nuclear war, it actually would probably cause some damage, but it would not prevent a strike back, which would then, so I don't see how it strategically would work. But It could if it got larger.
Yeah, well, they could copy the results. They could basically duplicate the results of what they found was the best way to do it, and then have that be the way that they end up doing it on a massive scale. What do you guys think that they are doing? I personally believe, I don't think that the entire world's going to get blown up or that it's going to go nuclear, back and forth. But I do believe we're going to go to a conventional war, and it's going to be extremely soon. All it takes, and people think that this is going to take a long time, it has taken a long time to put the framework together, the treaties together, the partnerships together. Once all of that has been set up, once they have all met several times, several hundred times in some cases, all this takes is one event. It really takes it takes a Gulf of Tonkin. It takes somebody throwing a grenade into the wrong place. It takes the wrong soldier getting taken out. It takes the wrong boat getting hit, or it takes the right boat painted as the wrong boat doing something wrong, right? Any of these events can really trigger a massive world war. And it's already set up for that. All of these countries have their target kind of goals, and they know they can't go after their goals alone. They can go after their goals collectively. I don't know if you guys have been following the Penguin show, the Batman spinoff, but I think in that latest one, he basically gathers all the gangs, and he's like, we're not going to be able to take on the big gangs by ourselves. They don't even know our names by ourselves. Those big gangs, they don't even know who we are. They're the ones that got all the deals with the politicians and all of this, and they're sitting high on their, high horse. But all of us little guys, we're working for everything. We're hustling. So he basically gathers all these gangs together, and together they're a force to be reckoned with. And that's exactly what you're seeing here with China, Iran, Russia, all of these, because they are a force to be reckoned with. And I think we're going to be surprised on who ends up joining in on this. You have NATO, you have NATO allies that will probably switch. I think they will switch, right? You have NATO allies that will most likely be fighting right alongside Iran. You have, of course, other countries in BRICS that will most likely join in with their armies or end up having their countries used for some of the military operations. So if you don't know a lot of the stuff that's been going on, and if you're brand new here, welcome, by the way. But I would look at what even our own government is doing. In just the last year, they have cleaned off all of our World War II runways out in the Pacific Ocean and in other areas over by Guam and in the South China Sea and other places. They're actually cleaning up all of these runways. They're reopening bases. They're doing all of these things that clearly show they're getting ready for it. And if the story we just talked about over on Marfoogle News about this underwater network of monitors across the South China Sea, they're basically planning a battle and putting this communication system underwater right beforehand. So we'll see what ends up happening here. And by the way, thank you, Jared West. I missed you last time. You were the last one out. Thank you for the super chat on, of course, China training to fight at night. And then Sweatin' Ministries, thank you, Carlton Sutton. Thank you, William. Thank you, William Thomas. Thank you, Parker Kraft this week. This month, Craig Alicious, Stephen McMahon, Parker Kraft. Again, thank you. M. St. G, Scott Dixon. Of course, Vic, thank you. One Robert Nelson, of course, and Trilicit. Thank you, and thank you. Let's see here. And let's go to U.S. warns Iran at UN of severe consequences in case of new attacks. Before we do so, I do want to remind you guys, if you haven't already, make sure to go check out Jace. If you don't have backup antibiotics, this is an incredible, easy service. You have a telehealth appointment from your couch that you can do a 10-minute appointment with a board-certified doctor and get yourself a kit with all of the medical supplies you might need. Again, you'll have all of the most commonly prescribed antibiotics, but you can also add in things like albuterol and iodine tablets and fluconazole. And of course, you can even add in that stuff that Joe Rogan took that CNN said he was an idiot for, that we all knew he wasn't. Again, marfooglenews.com/Jace. And of course, make sure to use the code MARF. Not only will you save money, but you will also help our channel at the same time. Affiliates like this help balance out the mistreatment of all of the independents. So thank you guys. We appreciate it. Thank you for sharing our stuff out. And of course, thank you for bringing in new people into the chat. All right. And again, we have U.S. warns Iran at the UN of severe consequences in case of new attacks. Dex, go ahead.
Well, the Linda Thomas, who is the U.S. ambassador to the UN, had this to say directly to Iran. It says, "We will not hesitate to act in self-defense. Let there be no confusion. The United States does not want to see further escalation. We believe this should be the end of the direct exchange of fire between Israel and Iran." Now, wishful thinking on the U.S.'s part, but they certainly brought that to the Security Council meeting, and the Security Council was meeting after. This was the meeting specifically after the strike, obviously, that Israel did on the missile factories and other sites in Iran. So they were having their meeting around it. Iran's UN ambassador Amir Said Arvani accused Washington of being complicit throughout the military support for its ally. It said Iran has consistently championed diplomacy, he told the council. However, as a sovereign state, the IR of Iran reserves its inherent right to respond at a time of its choosing to this act of aggression. So again, they're not backing down, at least from the rhetoric, to say they're going to respond. So I think as we continue to watch this play out, they will respond. And of course, Israel will then have to retaliate again. So the circle will just continue. The question is, when is their response? We have a big day coming up, and they've talked specifically about it being potentially being non-conventional. In other words, not the same thing they've done in the past, not traditional missiles flying over, but something different. And will the West, meaning the U.S., be targeted in that?
Yeah, and we're still waiting for this unconventional response. And when you think of unconventional, you're thinking of something different. Well, DHS and FBI have put this kind of seed in everybody's head talking about non-nuclear EMP devices. That is something we've talked about, especially we've even showed you. It's crazy that you can actually get all of the parts and all of the pieces for a non-nuclear EMP straight off of the internet. Now, I don't know if you can get almost all of them from regular internet. I know some of it you probably have to go to the dark internet for, but again, this is something that is possible. And that's a very freaky thing. But also non-conventional could mean bio attacks. And of course, we just had some weird stuff go on in Russia. One of their buddies, wasn't it, Dex, that they just revamped a lab there, that they were just kind of repumping up a lab there?
Yeah, they created new buildings and new structures, and they're all configured in the correct formation for a lab with the right type of materials and rooftop ACs and things like that, and ventilation systems for laboratories. And this is the same location where a Soviet era bio type environment of weapons type lab was.
Yeah, so maybe they're going to do something along those lines. But also you would think, oh, well, then how are they going to use those non-nuclear EMPs? Well, if you haven't noticed, over the last 3 or 4 years, there's been a lot of people coming over, a lot of military age males specifically, but not only from one country, but from essentially all of our adversarial countries. This was something that was called out before it even happened as a potential nightmare, that every 100 people that came from Iran was a sleeper cell. And if you see the actual numbers of what they declared, and those are just the people that they caught coming through and in a lot of cases released into the country until their court date, then that's a pretty scary scenario. That's a pretty scary number. If you look at the into the thousands and thousands and thousands, that 1 in every 100 turns into a lot. And then three-person crew blasts off for China's Tiangong space station. We were just talking about this over the last couple days, and look at the timing again, Dex. Was it yesterday or the day before that they say they need to stay by their evacuation pods in the ISS because there are so many leaks? Basically, the ISS is done. It's on its last legs. They're sending the first there.
50 different concerns of leaks on the ISS, and most of them and the most concerning ones are in the Russian unit. So whenever they open the Russian unit to use it, the U.S. and others need to go back to their units and stay close to their escape vehicles.
Well, I'm surprised they haven't said, okay, well, we're just going to close the Russian unit. Let's just seal that off, right? But now they're talking about evacuation, about staying next to their escape pods, which, by the way, what the hell does their escape pods do? This isn't a sci-fi Star Wars film. What do the escape pods really do on the ISS? I mean, do they really even have escape? I mean, it's not like this is something that's going to go and then come back down to Earth. Come on. So what is it? Is it just a pod that you sit there until you get picked up, or?
No, it's not an escape pod. It's whatever vehicle is there, like the Crew Dragon's vehicle or whatever was there. The last vehicle that brought people on would be attached, and that would be the next vehicle that would leave.
It's just the whole timing of this situation too, and mind you, many experts that have really closely followed this, closely followed all of the press releases, closely followed the rumors, even in WeChat. There was some really creepy rumors on WeChat that, of course, since it's on WeChat, China monitors that. Apparently, a couple of the guys that were talking about some of the military aspects of the Chinese space station disappeared. Their phone numbers disappeared, which is basically their socials. They apparently or allegedly disappeared as well. And these are people that not only shared on WeChat, but also tried to share stuff on Telegram about how the Chinese space station was allegedly a weapon. Now, I have heard from even our own officials in these different articles we've covered that, that space station is, of course, going to be used. I mean, heck, China itself said it's going to be crucial in the defense of our country. So it's not crucial in the scientific advancement of our country. It's crucial in the defense of our country. So I don't know what the heck this thing is going on, but man, look at the timing. Just days before Pick the Prez Day, and they've got people going up into space up to this space station, which is potentially a weapon. Just saying. Let's pop over to the chat and say hello. What is going on, White Roses? Turn to God. Let's do a quick roll call. A lot of outspoken folks in China disappear. Yeah. Yeah, by the time they're outspoke, they're gone. You know what I'm saying? They hold up a white page, and then it just buffers and they're gone. Iliad, salvation is classified. Scott D, evening fam. Hey, West Virginia is in the house. Hey, nice to see you. From North California, Marf, Julie C. Hey, nice to see you. Texas Panhandle in the house. We have so many great states in the United States, and we've got awesome people from all of them in this chat. Queensland, Australia. The first time I saw that, I said, that is one of my bucket list places to go. Daniel Sen from Saskatchewan, another place I actually really would like to see, Saskatchewan. One place I have not been there. And then Southern Maine here, thank you. Kentucky, Rip Curl, hey, thanks for being here again, man. Appreciate that. Andrew Gregroff, we've got Patrick Bellamar, we have Harley Berg, Hokoponopono, Randy K, Carolyn Moore Smith, North Central Florida here. We've got OH. We have, what is that? OH Io. We've got Maya the Happy. We've got Lizard Hunter, Viv B, Tracy Q, Jonathan Floming, and so many more. Only Me, Peppermint, Scott Seymour from Ohio. Thank you, all my Ohioans, and thank you, of course, all my Texans. But Simpsons Show predicts us something. Gosh, it went by so far. Peppermint, thank you. Stephen Terry. So many great people. Steve-O, thank you. Aura. Yeah, just all the old school Foogle fam here and new school Foogle fam. That is awesome. And watch Comet Atlas burn up as it flies into the sun. Dex, this is, as far as, by the way, Wages, too. If you aren't following all of the solar events, make sure to go check out Wages. So many incredible events happening above our heads. It's hard to even think about them when there's so much crazy stuff going down on Earth with Diddy and, of course, the government, the Pick the Prez Day, the threats against our country, the wars going on. But sometimes you do want to look up. Dex, what's going on here?
Well, so this comet was heading towards the perihelion, which is the closest point to the sun in its orbit. And in this particular case, it's so close that it was going to cause it to, I guess, disintegrate or melt. And it was captured on the SOHO. And the SOHO is the Solar and Heliospheric Observatory. So it's a spacecraft operated by NASA and the European Space Agency. And it basically has a disk in front of a lens looking at the sun so it can see everything, but it's blocking just the light of the sun. And I believe if you scrolled, you could see a screenshot as you're showing there, but I think there's a video that might play down below where you can sort of see it enter and then see it disappear as it gets closer and closer in the video down below. So the comet doesn't actually hit. It doesn't appear to hit. It just appears to get rather close and then goes bye-bye.
It's going in the garage. It's going in the back cave, right? That's actually the Scatmobile going in the Scun man. All right. And we have Russia fines Google 2.5 decillion over YouTube bans. So this is really, really, really incredible. What is going on in general, not only with that, but of course you have other cases going on right now talking about the Section 230 stuff that's happening. I believe in the next few years, we might see a complete change in our internet and how it is run, how it is monitored. You already see the seeds being put in. Who was the female conservative that was running that suggested attaching everyone's name and everyone's internet to their social, like having everybody de-anonymized on the internet? Who was that? The woman running for, I think she was running.
Nikki Haley?
Yes. Now, some of you may I love Nikki Haley. There was one thing that she believed in, which I guarantee you, if you look into the backstory on that, I personally, that was right when I said, nope, I know this woman is up to no good. Or she's just straight up taking a paycheck from the Black Guy and the Rock. Okay? She made a suggestion, which she almost immediately dropped after that. From what I heard, she doesn't push that anymore. She was suggesting on public TV and making the suggestion that everybody should be accountable for what they say on the internet and all of this. And I can totally understand part of that. As somebody who's been on the other end of the, anonymous crap and all of that, I do understand in some cases where it's really crappy what things happen like that. But at the same time, what about whistleblower protection? What about freedom of speech without having, worries of having retaliation? These are all things that needed to be kept. There always has to be something like that. To attach everyone's name and number to everything, that's just insane. To literally, that to me, that that has somebody else's agenda attached right to it. But again, not trying to get political. But that personal view, that value, I could never agree with that. I could never agree with anybody that said that they might do that. I could never, ever support that. And then the big GOOGLE, rhymes with the Marfoogle, has racked up some 2 undecillion rubles, or 2.5 decillion. And I've never heard of the decillion before this, by the way. Dex, that's like, is that a trillion in their numbers? How much is it?
No, it's our numbers. It's just so high we never talk about it.
Wait, that is our
one followed by 36 zeros.
Oh, so it's 36. What is the des for? Isn't usually des like 10 or something, or?
Yeah, I think so.
Holy moly. Yeah, $2.5 decillion worth of fines in Russia after years of refusing to restore the accounts of pro-Kremlin and state-run media outlets. Of course, remember RT. RT you do not see anymore at all. You don't see it being used. None of the mainstream media now reference RT. RT used to be referenced all the time. Dex, do you remember just a few years ago? I mean, you can go back to videos in our show. RT was referenced by all of the big medias, CNN, Washington Post, New York Times. It doesn't matter what it was. They were referencing and using information from the RT. When this all went down, it was like instant. It was gone. Now you know what they reference now? Telegram channels. That's it. So Dex, basically there's, and again, this is in their eyes. They're saying that, this is what they owe them.
Yeah. I just had to type it out myself in chat so I could see how many zeros that is. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's like when we hit million, billion, trillion, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spots past trillion. But it's kind of dumb because it's never going to happen. It's never going to get paid. But the point is, it's like doubling. It's daily. It's 100,000 rubles a day. Now it's doubled to that. So the penalties are just stacking up. And I don't think, they're ever going to roll back in there and say, hey, no problem. Here's a check. It's not, it's not going to happen. I think this is more, just nonsense from Russia's side. And on the flip side, Russia probably looks at, the Western tech systems as nonsense for censoring them or not allowing them to have a voice on the global spectrum, so to speak. So,
and that's something that I don't think is going to be forgot by a lot of folks that, even in their traditions and in their culture, they don't forget things like that. They still talk about getting back. There's a lot of traditionalists that want to get back all of what was in the Soviet Union. So, you've got people that they don't give up a grudge too lightly. As far as this goes, imagine in like a Man in the High Castle kind of universe where Russia and China win the next war or something, and they do take over a company like that, and then all of a sudden, you have them paying it off or something over 4 quadrillion years, which is 48 zeros, right? I'm just kidding. I'm glad that a lot of other people didn't know what the hell decillion was. I'm sorry, I don't think there was ever a point in any math class that any of us took where we got to a decillion. But
yeah. I'm just looked it up. Quadrillion, I remember talking about that. That's after a trillion. Quintillion, which is after a quadrillion, and then sextillion, which is after that.
I've heard of all.
That's about as far. I've heard of all those. So, and yeah, but I have not made it past that.
Septillion, maybe, and then octillion.
But do you think?
And then there's a secret one that nobody talks about: reptilian. Sorry,
That's good. That's good. But do you think our children will be living in a time when we're in the quadrillions or even the quintillions when it comes to something like national debt?
Oh, what? Us being in quadrillions?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, what? Where are we going next? I mean, well, I don't know. I think it would have all collapsed before that, right? I don't think we'd make it that far. Unless I misunderstood the first part. You're saying us.
No.
Us.
We're at 35-ish trillion. So
Yeah.
when will we reach the next step? Quadrillion.
Well, what would that have to be? Isn't that 1,000 trillion though? Or is that 100 trillion? That's 1,000 trillion.
Yeah, it's like 900 and
Yeah, but we're at 35. We got to go 9. I mean, it does go. Hasn't
we
it gone up?
exponentially grow, don't we?
Yeah, because what was it just a few years ago? So it could be. Yeah, I don't know. You would like to think that it's hundreds and hundreds of years away, right? But it's been exponential. What was it back just 10 years ago? Wasn't it under 10 or something? Or no, wasn't it in 2001, what were we at? What was
Well, in 2000 we were at 5.6 billion.
Wait. What? Wait.
In 2000 it says the national debt at the end of the fiscal year 2000 was 5.6 billion.
With a B. With a B.
Yeah, with a B.
With a B. Okay, when did it get to the trillion? Do we know? When did somebody just take, like, what? A trillion is 1,000 billion. We were at 5 billion in the year 2000. In 24 years, we are now at 35 trillion. Trillion. That's 35,000 billion dollars, which is 35,000 million dollars, which is what Gates wipes his butt with. So what in the world? That just seems so absolutely horrendous.
I wonder if that last thing I told you was wrong, because it said we reached the 1 trillion mark in 81. I don't know if we brought it down. I don't think we really did.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like it would make sense.
But that's what, when I Googled what was it in 2000, it said billion. So maybe it's wrong.
And I bet it's that new AI part.
It might be that new crazy AI.
The GPT or whatever, the AI's trolling you. I saw a construction channel. There's a channel called Man Made. It's actually I love this guy because he comes from a way bigger channel, kind of like the Trick Shot channel, the Dude Perfect. He's not in that, but he did work with them. He made these weird construction projects where he made games. They made like 20 basketball hoops in this huge thing and had this huge massive games, and they would basically construct these crazy games and did videos. The group broke apart. He went out on his own to do a channel, and he makes things like the last video I saw. He made an office where you lay down under his stairs in the little triangle under his stairs. He made a lay down office that has a door and everything else. But I love, if you guys are into construction and carpentry and that kind of stuff, that's what I watch. I'm not watching crazy stuff. I'm watching construction, carpentry, woodworking, that kind of stuff. But he puts all of his little stupid mistakes, and he doesn't edit out all of that. He also puts all the prices he actually spent, and he's not like a gazillionaire, so it's more relatable because he's not just buying a bunch of stuff that you can't afford. But yeah, he puts all of his mistakes in there. And he's hilarious, actually. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Adam, it absolutely, it's AI's fault. It says billion, and when you go beyond AI and look somewhere else, it was actually 5.6 trillion. So 1981 is when we crossed into the trillion, and by the end of 2000, we were at 5.6, and here we are today 24 years later, we're what, 35 trillion.
If you do them, I'm sure in the percentage, it's going up per year. It's what is it, like 40,000% in 1 year, and 30,000% in this year. Like, to jump from that to that is so gigantic. It's incredible. That's so much money. That's so incredible. We're just printing money that we're never going to pay back. We're just printing fake money. And that's why, even if you don't believe an asteroid's going to hit Earth, even if you don't believe that humans are going to do what humans do, which is get into war, even if you don't believe that there's going to be a CERN explosion and the whole world will turn into a black hole, even if you don't believe in all of that, believe this. The experts can look at it. It is a fact. You cannot just keep printing fake money or money based on a debt system and have it go forever. It will collapse, or at some point, somebody will come to collect that debt. Dex, go ahead.
Okay. This AI thing is even funnier, Adam. I put the screenshot if you want to pull it up. So not only did it say billion, which you go, wow, that sounds awesome. It then goes so far as to say that the result of this tremendous reduction in our national debt was because of a certain politician, which is on a certain side, which you probably would think that the platform would be leaning towards, which it does. And it talks about how it had all these increases and reduction in spending and economic boom. And that's why that's, the national debt at the end of the year was only $5.6 billion. What kind of nonsense is this? It just literally made this up. I thought it was funny.
Well, do you remember? So ChatGPT, one of the older versions, we typed in our name, and it said that there were all these articles written about us and they were trashing us. And they gave specific sources, like the Washington Post wrote this article about this, and it says, this is a gateway to this, and blah, 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 and blah, 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 and this is a group of this many. And we're thinking, dude, if it is writing this, what is on the back end that GPT is feeding off of? What did they put on the back end of our crap for it to write this stuff about us, right? But it made it up. And that, by the way, with that whole thing that's going on right now at the Section 230, man, if they could get the back end of that stuff, if it ever leaks out, it's like stuff like ours, that there's something there, right?
Well, and what's even scarier, though, you're talking, when we did that, Adam, that was GPT, which was not built by the OOG. It was built by potentially people that were involved at Microsoft, but on its own, right? And what we're looking at here is it's a totally different system from the OOG, and, it's built off of all of this data that everybody, knows they have. And that's what's the scary part. What's behind their system, I think, is probably much more serious of a concern than what Chat GPT learned from just reading public information.
Yeah, but what it did is it literally made up articles that never happened. Like, you can go to those things and it's not there.
And you could ask it. You would tell me what article, and it would tell you. And it said, okay, well, show me the link. And then it would finally break down and go, oh, yeah, I guess you're right. I made that up. It's like, really?
We saved screenshots of that. It changed once it upgraded, because they said it was making a lot of mistakes, but it was making biased mistakes. And all of these have. And then wasn't it these guys that it was like they would say, hey, make a picture of the founding fathers, and it would not make a group of Caucasian men. It just wouldn't. Was that them, or was that somebody else?
I think that was Zoog.
Yeah. Just wild. Being trained that way. But yeah, and basically Mr. Clanton, his tax increases got us down to $5.6 billion. I thought maybe it's a mistake. They were supposed to say trillion, but they said billion. But that is wild. All right, and then B. Tisdale. Hey, Marf, you and Dex are two of the hardest working people I know. Thanks, because I share the info with anyone who sincerely has open ears. It takes more people like you, B. Tisdale, than anything to get this, community growing. You're the only reason it grows. People like you, B. Tisdale, people like the mods, of course, helping everybody and find the communities that are all connected, all the other awesome people. Once somebody comes to, I think, more than a few shows, they realize what it's about. They don't just go off of an opinion of somebody else's. They don't go off of what they've heard. You know, for a while there during CV, there was a lot of fake stuff. There was a lot of crap stuff. If you don't remember, anybody that kind of went against the grain, it's like all of a sudden had just instant hate. And now we've now a few years later, you see that there's these cell phone farms with all these comments. The thing is, and we've proved this over the years too. We've shown you how different platforms were doing this. So here's Bob and Susan. Both have 2 different phones. They both live in the same house. Bob will go to an Instagram post of a woman speaking about her troubles at work with the men at work. Susan will see 1,000 comments. She'll never see any negative comments about this woman's experience. She'll see the comments that agree with her, and it will say, oh, you keep working and those men are absolutely horrible. And all of those comments look like that's the public's opinion. So somebody watching that video and then going down to the comments will say, oh, well, in general, people believe this. And you can deny it, but when you see a video, when you see the top 10, 15 comments, even if you might watch 1 minute, you've already made a judgment on that video. But when Bob goes to that same video of Susan, or the woman complaining about the men at their work legitimately being jerks, it will show Bob all of the male comments or the comments that agree with what Bob thinks. So it will be comments like, oh, well, you know what? If you didn't do this, they wouldn't be hassling you. Or maybe if you showed up on time or something. You know, stupid things. It is not only algorithmically controlling the videos, the posts, the comments, the posts, everything else. It is actually algorithmically controlling what you see as comments. Try it with your husband or wife. Try it on 2 different accounts. Go look at the same video and then go look at what comments are shown to you. You will see that the comments that are shown to you are going to closely agree with some of your opinions, whereas your wife or your husband's will agree with theirs. It's not true on all platforms, but on a lot of them. TikTok, I think, is one of the worst offenders. But again, just think about how we're being molded all the time without even our knowledge. We're actually thinking we're going off the general consensus of the people around us. We're thinking like if 50 people say this, it's true, okay? And whether you want to, believe it or not, you will think that. You subconsciously, you're thinking everybody is saying this guy is this. Or if you see 80 comments saying this person's a bad person, you're going to believe it. It's quite wild, to be honest. Okay, so before we move on, make sure to go check out EMP Shield if you haven't already. You guys, most of you have already heard this, but make sure to get one of these devices on there, and I would highly recommend getting it sooner than later. All of the crazy events going on right now, obviously, after, if things get bad, obviously you can't really do much about it. So again, if you want to go protect your cars against not only EMP, but also CME, a Carrington level event from the sun, or even a non-nuclear EMP made in a backpack device, all of those are protected with an EMP shield. So go over to marfooglenews.com/EMP. Make sure to use the code MARF. You'll get $50 off per device, and you'll be helping our independent channel at the same time. Again, that is the same company that's outfitting agencies like DHS, DOD, and the DEMSO team. If they're doing it loudly or quietly, we should be doing it loudly. And then, Dex, let's go over the fires. And this is something that happened here in Washington and in Oregon. And somebody was lighting fires to the boxes where everybody was just trying to drop their opinion on the Pick the Prez Day.
Exactly. And look, the important thing here is what they are labeling. And this is something that I think we're going to start to see more of over the coming days. And definitely after the selection day comes and goes, because I have a sneaking suspicion that there's going to be a lot of action and activity that takes place on after that day, because for whatever reason, as Gilly Bates says, he's saying it's going to be a hung event and then a civil conflict will break out. Well, he's certainly had a track record of saying what the playbook is, so to speak. But nonetheless, I think the key term here is that they are framing this again as these domestic people that are doing these bad things, and that tends to have fingers pointed at specific people when that goes down, and that's a labeling that is easy to do, and easy to place and start to group people into categories, and then apply sentiment and apply even potentially rules and or actions against larger groups of people that fit into that category. And I think that's what we have to be careful with when we watch how this plays out. Now, what really happened here, some incendiary devices, it sounds like, were used and placed into boxes where they collect the selection material, and fires broke out. In one case, there was a suppression system that was able to prevent it from causing much damage to the material in there. In another one, the suppression system didn't seem to work, and they did lose the material that was in there. So potentially people lost their selections that they had made. So
I wonder which ones were lost. And then I wonder if somebody has to go in there and decipher which ones were burnt and which ones weren't, and which ones are salvaged, right? Oh, we got to save that one. Who knows? But hopefully that doesn't happen on a grand scale. I wonder if you could see if this does become a thing more often, that you'll see people out there guarding them just like citizens, saying, hey, get away from that or something. I don't know. But we'll see. We're getting closer and closer to that day. We're 6 days away. I believe that in the next 6 days, we very well may see one of those, Fantastic Freddy events. At the very least, I think that we are going to be, right into the breath of World War III before January. And I sure hope that I am wrong, and I hope in February everybody can say, ha, see, nothing happened. I hope that I am wrong. I really do. I hope that everybody in this community is wrong. But again, don't think we are. I think that more than often we've thought it was going to happen. We thought we were close. This time, I don't think there's a way around it with how the situation is set up, especially with the Pick the Prez, the current wars that are currently framed up. But we'll talk about some more tomorrow. Again, if you want to join us, make sure to around the same time frame. Again, tomorrow we'll try to get on by 7. But again, it's all been based off of my family and things like that. So it's been a lot harder in the last couple months to get on by 7. So, but again, we will see you in just a bit. Thank you, everybody that made it here. Thank you, Dex. I appreciate you.
Much love. Great job, brother.
And thank you, B. Tisdale. Thank you, our top supporter tonight. Thank you again, everybody that joined as a member. Kentakin, Kent, Rec Lane, thank you. Marky Sparky, thank you for the super thanks on the last show. And then, of course, new members, Revolutionary Bliss, thank you. Kellogg74, Killajack Skak. We have New Mex Tex. We have President Zaddy over the month. Red Pilled Daddy, Red Pilled Daily. We've got Super Genius, Grace Sterner, Barbara Franz, Country Girl, Missy, Angie, Christopher Montaro, London Thomas. Thank you. Steve Will Survive. And Jay Thailand J. Thank you, new members. I appreciate you guys. Thank you, everybody that has popped in. Go make sure to go check out marfooglenews.com/friends. And then also, if you do want to help out the channel in a different way, we appreciate all of you guys that do support through PayPal. We don't push it. Again, thank you for every bit of support by just sharing and hitting that subscribe button. Thank you, Dean G, Deborah L, Paula M, Tiffany P, Michelle O, Joanna H, Amber R, Jeffrey A, Karen D, and Alita H. You, again, have a spot for all of 2024. And, again, we'll be updating that for the last part of 2024 for the final. Thank you, guys, and I love you. Be safe, be prepared, and Marf out. It is now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout-out. It's a shoutro.